Jesus Christ did not primarily come to make us nice people, better people, good people. He did not primarily come to teach us a way of life or to give us just a moral code of how to act and how to live. Primarily, Jesus Christ came for this purpose this night, to offer himself, to save us, to rescue us, to snatch us out of the clutches of Satan and to reverse the sin of Adam. My friends, this is why Jesus came. This night, we celebrate the greatest gift that any of us could ever receive. This night, we celebrate this gift of Jesus Christ and his extravagant, amazing, incredible love for us. This is why Jesus came. This, above all else, is why he came. For us, to rescue us. So at the beginning of this week, on Palm Sunday, the last time that we read the Passion on Sunday, I preached to you about how we need to find ourselves in this story this week. How we need to identify with some of the characters throughout the story. And I hope you've done that this week. But tonight we take the focus off of ourselves for once. Take the focus off of your own self. And I know that it's easy for us, and one of the things that we most do this day is acknowledge our own sinfulness and to kind of analyze in our souls the ways that we haven't loved Jesus enough. But for once, let us just take the focus off of ourselves and place it all on Christ. Because above all, this is just something that he gives us freely and that we just need to receive this night. Something we just need to receive. This is called the divine condescension. That God himself would condescend to take our form, the form of a slave, the form of a human being, and come down to earth to be with us and to save us. This is a beautiful and wonderful gift. From the sin of Adam, from the very beginning, Adam creates out of his side his bride Eve, who has the first sin, and Christ from his pierced side and the blood and water which flow out, he creates his new bride, the church, and gives us this gift of healing us from this sin. And so our salvation is a free gift, but salvation is free, but not cheap. Free, but not cheap. It costs our Lord his life. Obedience costs him his life. And it's that obedience which is the key here. That obedience which is so good, which undoes the sin of Adam and the disobedience of Adam and Eve. If we think about it, if we analyze it, the first sin really is disobedience. That they could not listen to the Lord in the garden. That they did not want to obey the one thing they were told not to do. And so by Christ's obedience, he blots out Adam and Eve's disobedience. We heard in the second reading, son though he was, he learned obedience from what he suffered. And so our job and the thing that is the remedy to our sin is our obedience to Christ and our obedience to the church. So what does that mean for us practically? What does that mean for us this year? Well, there have been many opportunities to be disobedient. There always are opportunities to be disobedient. Maybe that takes the form of being disobedient to the moral laws of the church. Maybe you struggle with certain things that the church teaches. You can offer your obedience to those things even though you don't fully understand it. Maybe the disobedience is directed at bishops or leaders in the church who have had less than exemplary examples to show us. Or maybe your disobedience just takes the simple form of not wanting to follow all the difficult, silly little things that we've had to follow this year out of obedience to this pandemic. That might be the hardest obedience of all. But we offer it. Father David and I offer our obedience to Bishop Kemi, to everything that he asks of us. We offer our obedience to the Holy Father. And we renew that obedience tonight. And so one of the things that we have to do still this year that we're obedient to is to follow a few certain norms. Last night, I preached on how we can't wash feet still this year. We're obedient to that command, but I offered you the opportunity to wash feet of your own, to wash the feet of those in your household. Tonight, there's one thing that we can't do as well. We cannot kiss and reverence the cross as we normally do on this night. We will reverence the cross. We will reverence it by a bow or by a genuflection, but we cannot place our lips to the cross as we might normally do. And this is a beautiful thing. This is a beautiful tradition that we normally take part in. Think of it. Can you kiss the crosses of your daily life? Can you reverence the cross? It's kind of insane for us. It's insane. It would be insane to anybody that walked in here to see that we reverence an instrument of torture. We get so used to the cross. It's on practically every wall at St. Anne of every single room. We get used to seeing the cross and the crucifix in all our classrooms, in our houses. But the cross was an instrument of torture. We kiss this thing that represents death, but represents our salvation. And so I challenge you to think about this. Have you kissed the cross daily since the last time, 2 years ago, when you kissed it on Good Friday? You know, I think there's a tendency for us in our lives, most days except for this day, to run away from every cross in our life. To absolutely hate the cross, to reject the cross. Even this year, in this year of COVID and this pandemic, the focus the whole time this year has been on not dying, right? It's been on not dying. And there's a beauty to that. There's a dignity, obviously, to every human life, and we want to live as long as we can to glorify God. But we as Catholic Christians know that the death, physical death, is not the end. There is worse death, the death of our soul, the death of our spirit. And so even just our sensibilities this year of being afraid constantly, of getting sick, of being constantly afraid of death, they kind of create a sense in us that we don't want to suffer. That we don't want to suffer. The world and all the leaders of the world want to avoid suffering at all costs. But just a few weeks ago, and all throughout my priestly life, I experienced this death once again as we laid to rest someone in our parish. Just a few weeks ago, actually last Friday, just a week ago, we laid to rest Gloria Kennedy here at our parish. And on that Monday before, I spent time with the Kennedys in the hospital as Gloria breathed her last breath, as she offered up her sacrifice with Jesus on the cross and commended her spirit to the Lord. And as I walked out of that hospital room, her husband, Ed, turned to me and said, "He never said it was going to be easy, did he, Father? He never said it was going to be easy." Jesus Christ never, ever promised us that we wouldn't suffer. He never promised us an easy or a comfortable life. He did promise us that he would be with us forever in the midst of all those sufferings, in the midst of all those trials, and that he would never abandon us. And so can you kiss the crosses of your daily life? Can you kiss all the sufferings that you will experience in 2021 and beyond? Can you kiss and embrace all the ways in which the Lord is going to call you to suffer this year? To venerate the cross, to look upon the cross, the instrument of torture, is to reaffirm our love for Jesus and to accept and receive this gift that he has given us. To venerate the cross is to deny ourselves, the world, and the devil once more. So let us renew this. Let us renew this love for the cross. Just one last story. I just read this morning this beautiful story of Pope John Paul II. Today, April 2nd, is the anniversary of his death. He died in 2005 on this very day. It was on Divine Mercy Saturday, but the Friday before he suffered his death, the last Good Friday, he practiced this Good Friday service alone in his chapel in Rome, and he venerated a cross. And he said to himself and to all the reporters thereafter that he wanted to live by one phrase and one phrase alone. Hail this cross. Hail the cross, our only hope. Hail the cross, our only hope. And so, as we venerate this cross tonight and all the crosses of our life that we will face, let us say together, let us say each in our own heart, hail, praise this cross, which is our only hope. Please stand.